Hey guys, what's up? Pixels here, and in today's video I'm giving you my ultimate guide on how to play David in Evil Dead the game. So David is not a popular character amongst the player base, however I have been requested by you guys to actually do an ultimate guide on him because I know a lot of people kind of struggle playing this character and to understand him. So I'm going to do my best to describe him, and with all my ultimate guides what we will start with is how to design his build. We'll discuss how to play him, how to use his ability, and then we'll do a nice little infographic at the end showing what weapons to use on him and stuff like that. So anyways, let's begin. Okay, so let's design the build on David. So the first thing that I go for is putting 4 points into Shems Plus. Shems Plus gives a little bit of healing to your teammates as well, and it will obviously heal a lot more for yourself there. So it is a primary perk when you're playing support characters. And we're going to put 1 point in Artful Dodger. You only need 1 point. You could possibly go for 2 points if you do have in Prestige, but I just stick to 1 point and I go for the maximum pink fuck upgrades in stamina, and that way you can get 3 dodges on the character. Then I like to go for 10% balance bar damage on support as well, and this will help spamming iframes and keeping yourself alive as much as possible, because support characters can tend to be targeted by the demon quite a lot. So if you have balance bar damage, primarily using, you know, weapons like sledgehammers and maces, then stacking with seeing stars, it's going to help you guys spam finishes and special moves. That way you won't take as much damage, and you're not going to be consuming resources for yourself instead of for the team. And then we're just going to put 1 point into Wig Splitter for now. We're going to come down here, we're going to put a point into Long Life Batteries, we're going to put 1 point into Fear No Evil, and then we're going to put 1 point into Arcane Knowledge, and then we're going to put max out Fast Forward. So the reason I like the max out Fast Forward is he has a 10% duration reduction, which is really good. And stacked with Beacon of Hope, so obviously with Beacon of Hope, if you guys have read through his kit, is that, you know, basically he has a free reduction speed for the team. It has a 110-second cooldown, or 120-second if you don't have him prestiged, and a 30-second duration. So with the 30-second duration, by the time it's over, it roughly has about an 80-second cooldown. And not only that, but evil units within the aura require a bit more infernal energy to be possessed by the demon too. So stacking that with Fast Forward actually works really well. And not only that, but you have boosted Beacon down here if you have him level 25. That has a bigger effect range. It also has infernal energy reduction per hit of 0.5 and infernal energy required plus 0.5. So it's going to cost the demon a little bit extra to possess something. And also if you're hitting them, you know, with a range attack or even a melee attack, they're going to be losing a bit of infernal energy every time they're within your beacon. So as you can see here, if you're putting the beacon down on the objective with Fast Forward, you know, the time is going to burn down. The demon's going to have a hard time possessing stuff sometimes, and obviously getting unpossessed whilst everyone is attacking within the aura of the beacon. And not only that, but it is also bringing, you know, Warrior's Fear down and stuff, which is really good. And, you know, combining him with some characters can work really well. Tougher Than Hell, again, damage reduction I think is very good for a support character to have, so I put 3 points into that. And then we're going to come down here, we're going to put 1 point into First Aid, 1 point into Deep Pocket Shems Colors. You can go for 2 points, however I don't really recommend doing this too much. If you find yourself not finding many colors in the game, then take a point out of Seeing Stars and then put it in Deep Pocket Shems Colors. However, I don't really find it too troubling to find enough colors throughout the game, and I can always ask my teammates for colors, so I like to run with a little bit extra balance bar damage to help with my special attacks. And then we're going to carry an extra Shems of a maximum of 6, because obviously he's a support character. Carrying Shems is a big priority there. And we can put 4 points into Industrial Strength. He is a support character. He will get targeted a lot. So with Industrial Strength maxed out, with Shems Plus, you're going to be, even if you get targeted, you can put your health up quite a lot. And then it's stacking even more with Tougher Than Hell. So you're going to have quite a lot of health playing David there. And so you guys might be wondering why I haven't gone for any range perks. So we'll talk about his weapon mastery and why it's pretty bad at the moment. So the nail gun has a faster reload speed. Again, that's not too bad, but it deals increased health, balance bar, and dismemberment damage. The reason why they don't actually put the increase at the bottom here and tell you what it is because it's 20%. So with it being 20%, if you work it out, you know, support characters actually have a minus 20% on range damage. So all that does is it puts the nail gun to base stats. Okay, so with that weapon mastery, it puts the nail gun to base stats. So if you decide, you know, you wanted to go for hollow points, you can buff up the nail gun's damage by an extra 15%. That is not really going to do a lot. The nail gun will burn through ammo too much. And also it has terrible balance bar on it, so bear that in mind when you're designing a build on David, to totally ignore his weapon mastery. It's probably one of the worst perks in the game. You do not want to pay attention to this at all. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you guys how to play David on Evil Dead the game. It's going to be a little bit complicated, so hopefully you follow me with this, but I'm just gonna give you some basic things here. The main thing, like I said earlier, is that spamming special moves and iframes is definitely a priority during objectives, and of course, you know, that way you're not draining shems for the team by taking needless hits. You know, spamming special moves is not a bad thing at all, especially if you've got a possess unit on your ass. You know, a lot of people say don't use special moves that much, but if you're playing a support character, you're not going to be able to do finishes that frequently, so special moves is going to be your best friend here. And of course, if someone is weak on the team, you know, if you feel like people aren't doing much for the team, like a leader, you know, they're just face tanking so much, if you're paying attention to how they're losing health, don't bother healing them. Just let them go down. You know, you don't want to waste shems for the actual good players on the team. And you know, it can be hard to decide who you think is actually a good player on the team and who you think is actually, you know, trying to dodge stuff and to kind of save resources that way, you know. But you know, you'll play with like so many characters like a leader Ash, who will, you know, be going in swinging constantly, not doing finishes, and will end up, you know, just face tanking so much damage. And you know, you could end up just wasting all your shems on a character like that instead of a character that needs it, like, you know, a warrior who will primarily be doing a lot of damage to evil units. So keeping them alive with the shems is definitely going to be a priority there. And not only that, but you are giving damage reduction to the warriors as well, and no doubt a warrior will have damage reduction on their skill tree too. So bear that in mind. You know, if, like I said, you don't really want to waste shems on leaders, and you know, you can use them on hunters as well. You will pretty much put a hunter up almost to full health from a cola drink because they have such a low amount of health. However, like I said, just it's all a timing and an experience type of thing. It's something that you will learn over time, but you know, just pay attention to who you think is just taking too much damage. They're taking needless hits for the team, and just don't waste the shems on them at all. Let them go down, just try and revive them, and that way, you know, the demon may gain some threat level, but at the end of the day, it's kind of their fault for face tanking so much damage, and you're just trying to conserve resources for the team. So the next thing I want to talk about is the amulets. So obviously you've seen on my build, I didn't put deep pockets amulets on this character. That is because amulets should be used for your warriors. Again, I think David works well with warrior characters with his damage reduction, but the reason why I didn't put deep pockets amulets up is because I think 4 is enough to carry around with this character. Obviously with prestige, you can maybe decide that you want to carry more amulets, which is totally fine once you get some more skill points to put into the character's skill tree. You know, characters like Pablo and Blacksmith, they work better by popping amulets on themselves and for the team, but sadly David doesn't really do anything with amulets, so picking those up and just dropping them for the team is definitely a bigger priority there. And you know, if you're playing with warriors and you feel like they're messing you up once they get possessed and stuff, just totally avoid them. Don't even attempt to fight them one-on-one in melee combat, because they will mess you up. If you're playing David, you will have a ranged weapon like a boomstick or a shotgun or a pistol even, or a revolver. You know, you can just use that against them. The best thing to do with a warrior is just to try and run away from them and just to totally avoid them as possible. You know, if a warrior is smart, they won't actually have a ranged weapon to catch up to you, because you know, if you're running away, then if they have a ranged weapon and they're shooting you, still they have low stamina and they obviously won't be able to catch up to you as well. So just bear that in mind. Just try and dodge and run away from a warrior the best you can, and just totally avoid trying to fight them too. And even if you're really good at surviving in this game, do not try and 1v1 a demon all game as a support character. You really want to be sticking next to your warriors. You really want to be sticking next to hunters and stuff. You know, damaged players will save your life more than you'll probably save theirs with shems being a support character. And this goes especially against Elagos and Plaguebringer. These are the strongest demons in the game. You do not want to be found left 1v1 against a Plaguebringer or an Elagos. You can cheese these characters a little bit, but Plaguebringer you will struggle against, you'll find. And of course, Elagos with his power possession, even with beacon down, can be a real pain in the ass to take down. And for my last tip on how to play David during objectives and such, just pay attention because you are a support character. If someone is about to go down and the time is almost done on the objective, don't bother trying to revive them. They're probably going to get camped off a boss unit or a possessed unit, and you're just going to end up taking more needless damage there. What will happen is once the objective's complete, it will revive that teammate in anyways, so don't worry about that. It's just a total waste of time. And you can potentially get you and your team killed doing that, so bear that in mind when you're playing David or just playing any support character. Just to pay attention to the timer left on the objective, make sure you just survive yourself, and that way you can get the objective done and they will get revived in anyways. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about how to use the ability on David, and I just want to give a shout out to L. He has made a Reddit post. If you guys are interested, I'll leave a comment with the link to that Reddit post on how to play David, or like basically a whole guide there if you want to read through that. I'm just doing this vocally on a video so everyone can obviously understand it a little bit better as well, and just to condense it all down. But L has put a lot of time into the character, so huge thanks to him for this guide. Otherwise this guide would not have been possible. I don't spend a lot of time playing David too much, but he is a fun character to play, and I thought definitely that L was the best person to ask on how to play him. So anyways, let's talk about on how to use his beacon. So if you really have to, you can use the beacon and not get feared. You won't find yourself in a lot of situations where you'll have high fear playing David, and even if you did, you can probably get yourself to a campfire there and save your beacon in case the the demon gets on your ass or something like that to unpossess them. Just bear that in mind if you find yourself high fear on a lot of occasions, that it's not a bad thing to use your beacon before starting objectives. So you may be tempted to throw the beacon out at the start of an objective every time you start one, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to do that. However, there will be more difficult scenarios later on throughout the objective where beacon may come in more clutch. So if you think your team is struggling, they have high fear levels, throughout the beacon. It will bring their fear level down. It will stop them getting possessed, which will also take threat level away from the demon there. But if you feel like your team's struggling a lot against the demon, definitely keep it for the boss being summoned, because it'll help out greatly against a boss summon. If everyone's attacking the boss summon within the aura, it's going to drain a lot of infernal energy, and the boss will get unpossessed that way as well. And so before objectives, of course, using it early game against possessed units, even if you're with someone, make sure you throw your beacon out. It could be a power possessed Elagos unit, it could be a possessed warlord, necromancer, anything like that. Make sure you throw your beacon out, of course. What I will say is, and this is from my personal experience, not something that Ella suggested here, if you find yourself 1v1 on a necromancer with a Flautus up, I will say go for the Flautus first. So yeah, beacon isn't too complicated to use. Like I said, if you find yourself 1v1 with a demon possession, throw it down there. If you find yourself 1v1 with a boss, definitely throw it down. Plaguebringer boss though, she can regen infernal energy with hits as well, so it will be quite a lengthy fight if you find yourself with that. And again, with a max energy power possession Elagos unit, you'll find yourself struggling 1v1 with that. It'll be a long fight even if you have beacon down. However, you can survive it as well if you are a good player and you can dodge correctly as well. But you are playing a support character. Support characters benefit more by sticking with teammates, so even if you find yourself targeted, just make sure you stick next to a warrior or hunter, and that way you can deal with possessions much easier too. At the end game, once you get the dark ones, if your team's just melting the dark one health, don't bother putting your beacon down. However, if you feel like your team's struggling, you're in a big fight, the dark one health isn't going down that much, make sure you throw a beacon out. That way, by the time you have the dark ones complete, you've brought people's fear down. Sometimes demons like to summon boss units before the dark ones is finished as well. So make sure that you do put your beacon down in those types of scenario games. But what I will say is the priority here is book phase with David. So he definitely shines with book phase. Throwing that out of book phase is going to make possessions a lot harder for the demon. A lot of people are going to be ganging up on possessions as well. So again, they can get unpossessed a lot easier. And like I said, just saving that and timing that correctly throughout for the book phase definitely helps out quite a lot. And of course, stacking that with his damage reduction on his colas is great as well. And what I will say is for the damage reduction on colas, I mainly save this for boss units. When I pay attention to people's health bars when I play support is, if I see most of my team are down to roughly around 50-60% of health, and maybe the boss unit summons or something like that, I like to just drink a cola, because even if I drink a cola, they're going to get damage reduction for a short amount of time, and that way it's going to help out. Even if they do start face tanking some stuff, that they're not going to be losing much health there too. So just bear that in mind. It's more of an experience and time thing again. So at this part of the guide, I'd usually do this over a bit of gameplay, but I found that, discussing weapons and stuff rather than showcasing it to people was a bit difficult to describe and show, and people might obviously like to see something rather than hear something. So I made a little infographic. I'm going to be doing this for all the characters in the game as well, and I'll be posting them on my Discord so people can follow them, and just to have a quick reference on what you should be looking out for on the characters. So as you can see here, we have the best teammates that run with David. So we have Henry the Red, we have Army of Darkness Ash, we have Hunter Ash, and Ruby. The reason I have Henry the Red here and Army of Darkness Ash is that they will be running damage reduction perks quite a lot, so that'll stack well with David's Soda Pop. So I like to use those characters with David, of course. And we have a Hunter Ash there. Hunter Ash obviously drains infernal energy and unpossesses demons with his ability too, so that stacks really nicely with David's ability with the Beacon of Hope, of course. And then we have Ruby as well. So Ruby actually has a cooldown reduction for David's Beacon of Hope, and she will be giving cooldown reductions for them characters as well. And not only that, but Ruby does buff up damage. She also has damage reduction on her aura, so that, again, that stacks really nice with David's Soda Pop, and it can be a nice combination there. So those are the 4 best teammates I think work well with David. Of course, he works well with almost everyone in the game, but I like to use these 4 characters primarily with David as well. So moving on to the pink fuck upgrades, as you can see here, I've done it in the list on the order that you should be upgrading your pink fucks. So stamina first, we have fear there, health, melee, ranged, and shield. So being a support character, obviously you want the stamina, you want the 3 dodges. So the reason why I chose fear second is that David has Beacon of Hope. Obviously you can keep his fear level down pretty nicely, so having some fear resistance there. And once you get the character prestige, you can look into doing some fear resistance in his build as well with the extra skill points, which works really nice with this character. Then we have the health there. Obviously buffing up the health on support is very key. And so melee is not that important, neither is ranged on this character. However, it does work well with Beacon of Hope again. So again, they're not really a priority compared to the other 3 for this character. Like I said, you only get a 5% attack speed buff on melee, so it's nothing that incredible, and you get a little bit of extra damage there too. But you are a support character, you're not going to be primarily doing a lot of damage. You're just there to really help the team to do damage. The reason why I buffed up shield last is I just don't think shield is that incredible on this character. Like I said earlier, dropping amulets for your warriors is a bigger priority there than using them on yourself. So let's move on to the melee weapons. So as I've put here, I've put 4 best melee weapons to use with him, and that'll be the mace, that'll be the sledgehammer, the lumberjack axe, and the shovel. So the reason why I put the mace and the sledgehammer first is because they're the better weapons to use on this character. Primarily, they have high balance bar damage, and it makes it a lot easier to spam special moves and iframes there. The lumberjack axe isn't also bad at doing this, and also the shovel. Most other weapons I'm not really bothered about. You can use weapons like a hand axe, like a 3-speed weapon isn't too bad on a support character either. But just at the start of the game, if you're finding it hard, because you're stuck using a meat cleaver or you don't know what weapon to choose, this is what you should look out for David at the start of the game. But if you find like a purple hand axe, that's not a bad choice at all. Even like a purple meat hammer or something, anything that has fast attack, fast balance bar breaking can work really well in this character too. And then we have the ranged weapons. Ranged weapons, I think the shotgun is probably one of the better weapons on this character. You can just keep spamming, hitting the pellets on the possessed units. Combined with your Beacon of Hope, it can unpossess things pretty quickly. The double barrel is not bad either, or the boomstick. The only reason I didn't put the boomstick or the double barrel higher than the shotgun is obviously the attack speed. Obviously, you can only do like 2 shots, and then you have to do a slow reload. So obviously, I think with having the shotgun, you can hit the shotgun a lot more frequently on things. And I feel like when I play David, I'm primarily going against Plague Bringers, and the shotgun works really well against Cauldron there as well. So we also have the revolver in the last one there. Again, the revolver is really nice to run on David. Notice I didn't put his nail gun in there because the nail gun absolutely sucks on this character. Be sure to avoid using special weapon ammo weapons like the crossbow or a grenade launcher or anything like that, because primarily hunters will be using that type of ammo. Just pay attention on what ammo your hunter's using. Like I said, you have the revolver there if you think they're using the long gun ammo, or if they're using a pistol, obviously just use a shotgun for yourself. You don't want to hoard too much ammo away from your hunters, and make sure that you are collecting a lot of ammo as you're looting, playing David as well, so you can throw that out for your hunters. So yeah, that was a nice little infographic there. It's just a quick reference for people who want to play David David, obviously, just to understand who he works well with, what the ping fuck upgrades you should be doing, what melee weapons and what range weapons to look out for on the character as well. So anyways, guys, I'm going to end it there. Hopefully you enjoyed the ultimate guide for David. It has been a difficult one for me because I haven't spent a lot of time playing the character. He is a really fun character to play, and he is a character that has such a high skill ceiling, to be honest, because he doesn't offer a lot at his base kit. However, you can get really good with his character and can be a big headache for demons as well. He's just one of those characters that's really hard to learn and hard to master. However, if you do decide to become a David main, good luck to you out there. I think he is a solid character, and I think you will enjoy playing this character. I have a lot of fun playing him when I have played him on stream and stuff. He's definitely a solid character choice for those who want to play support. And if you just fancy playing someone different, he's definitely a solid choice for playing someone different. He has a different play style to other support characters too, so he's definitely someone you should look into playing. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for more Evil Dead content like this, more ultimate guides on the way, more best builds and all that good stuff. Leave me a comment down below, let me know what you guys think of the guide, what you guys would add to the guide as well, and just let me know what you guys think of David, if you think he's a solid character choice to play in support as well. And thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Pixel, these are my awesome viewers. I'll catch you guys in the next one.